Hello and welcome back to Man vs Film. This is a top 10 of movies that you can watch right now on Amazon Prime US for the month of July 2019. Now, these aren't the best movies that are on this streaming service. These are just 10 movies that I feel need a little bit more love and a little bit more attention, which is why I'm bringing them forward for you to check out. As always, if you haven't already done so, I'd love if you subscribed, make sure and hit the notifications so you get this on the 4th of every month straight into your inbox. And of course, if you like this video, hit the like button. Let's get started with number 10, District 9. In 1982, a massive starship bearing a bedraggled alien population nicknamed the Prawns appears over Johannesburg, South Africa. 28 years later, the initial welcome by the human population has faded. The refugee camp where the aliens were located has deteriorated into a militarised ghetto called District 9, where they are confined and exploited in squalor. In 2010, the Munitions Corporation is contracted to forcibly evict the population, with operative Wikus van der Muur in charge. In this operation, Wikus is exposed to a strange alien chemical and must rely on the help of his two new prawn friends. Neil Blomkamp's debut movie was fantastic and it still holds up fantastically well today. Done on a fairly small budget considering the grandeur of the story and the special effects and the level, they are fantastic. It also brought us Sharlto Copley in his first lead role, an actor who you're never quite sure what you're going to get. And in this movie he goes from that everyday bureaucracy type of character into someone a little bit more as he starts to mutate and turn into something very different by the end of the movie. Great action, special effects, and just some really unique storytelling feats abound in District 9. Number 9, Braven. Joe Braven is a logging company owner who lives with his family in Canada. Joe's father, Lyndon, is suffering from dementia. Mistakes a woman in a bar for his wife, prompting a barroom brawl that lands Lyndon in the hospital. The family decides to take a break at their secluded log cabin, where they run into trouble from a drug dealer who wants to use Joe's business as a front for his cocaine operation. Jason Momoa is Braven, the man who's going to have to defend his family from notorious drug dealers who want to take over his business and ruin it. It's a simple plotline. Remote cabin, a group of people defending their honour and their lives against these mercenaries, and it goes the way you want. It's violent, it's fun, you get Jason Momoa just destroying people with various weapons, and they're all so much fun to just watch happen. We get his storyline with his father, which is kind of neat, and you kind of see how they're both cut from the same cloth, but most of all, this is just an action movie that fulfills on that action. It's a kind of throwback to the old 80s movies that maybe Arnold or Stallone would do. Really, really a lot of fun. Number 8, I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. Jack Spade returns from home in the army in his old ghetto neighbourhood where his brother Junebug dies from OG over gold. Jack declares war, Mr. Big, a powerful local crime lord. His army is led by John Slade, his childhood idol who used to fight the bad guys in the 70s. Spoofs, parodies can sometimes miss the mark, but when they land like they did in Aeroplane or Naked Gun, they can do terrifically well. I'm Gonna Get You Sucker is one of those movies that I remember watching when I was younger. It was great. Before I knew about the whole blaxploitation movement in the 70s, I just found this to be a fun, entertaining movie. Having gone back and enjoyed the heck out a lot of those blaxploitation films, I get even more out of this as it brings back a lot of the familiar actors of the time and taking a kind of twist on their normal roles. It's hilarious. The jokes come thick and fast, and I just find this a really entertaining and really great comedy. Number 7, Black Snake Moan. In rural Tennessee, Lazarus, a former blues musician who survives by truck farming, finds a young girl nearly beaten to death near his home. She's a white trash town tramp, moulded by a life of sexual abuse at the hands of her father and verbal abuse from her mother, who seems to delight in reminding Ray of her mistake in not aborting her. Lazarus, who is also facing a personal crisis at the dissolution of his marriage, nurses Ray back to health, providing her with a gentle fatherly advice as well as an education in blues music. Black Snake Moan is one of those movies that I just loved when it came out. I managed to discover it on DVD, and then I never saw it again. It just faded into the ether. It was a movie I never heard anybody talk about, which has some great performances at the heart of it, particularly Samuel L. Jackson as Lazarus, and the strange relationship between these two, Christina Ricci's character as well, is just fantastic. It's a little bit odd, it's a little bit different, but it has a whole lot of heart and a great tale at the centre of this movie. Number 6, Clue. Clue is a movie about 7 guests, a butler and a maid, who are involved in a series of murders. Blackmailer Mr. Body gives each guest a weapon and tells them to kill the butler Wadsworth to avoid being exposed. Add in Mrs. Peacock's craziness and Mr. Green's clumsiness, and meet a whole group entangled in a web of murder, lies and hilarity. Clue is a terrific adaptation, one of the first adaptations of a board game I can think of, and it just nails everything fantastically well. I think you get a great amount of characters here played by fantastic actors. You get Tim Curry as Wadsworth the butler, who is just so energetic in this role, who's just jumping from scene to scene. You get a finale where you get about 3 or 4 endings just thrown on of how it all could have unravelled. It's so much fun. You get pastiches of famous detective characters throughout the ages as well. This has everything I want in a movie. It's funny, it's smart, it's clever, it has a mystery at the heart of it, it has several answers that all seem extremely plausible. Great stuff. Number 5, Rocky. Rocky Balboa is a struggling boxer trying to make the big time, working as a debt collector for a pittance. When heavyweight champion Apollo Creed visits Philadelphia, his managers want to set up an exhibition match between Creed and a struggling boxer. Touting the fight as a chance for a nobody to become a somebody, the match is supposed to be easily won by Creed, but someone forgot to tell Rocky, who sees this as his only shot at the big time. I'm a huge Rocky Balboa fan, and this is where it all started. They have put Rocky 1 to 5 onto Amazon. I suggest checking them all out, particularly 4, which is really great, but my pick is Rocky 1, a movie that really does tell a familiar tale. It's somebody who is a nobody rises to stardom through his sheer tenacity and will to battle the adversities that life has given him. But it's so much fun. Stallone, who wrote the script, really adds a lot into the character of Rocky, really makes him a figure that you want to buy into, that you want to follow. And for the past so many years, decades, I have followed Rocky as he's grown up and changed throughout the years. But it all started here with this tremendous Oscar-winning movie. Number 4, Jackass 3D. Throughout the movie, the team are subjected to the usual foray of physical abuse from the team members or performing hilarious stunts, including some of the more stomach-churning stunts as a sweatsuit cocktail, toy train eruption and poo cocktail supreme. It's not for the weak-stomached. Jackass, the movies, really hit the pinnacle with 3. I feel that they knew exactly what they wanted to deliver, and they did it terrifically well. It can turn your stomach one moment, have you in fits of laughter the next, or be completely shocked at the antics of these human beings doing what they're doing. And it's done with a slight twist of 3D thrown into it, so you get to see some just horribly in-your-face stunts. It is hilarious, so much fun, so just easy to watch. It's the kind of thing you can throw on and get lost in if you've had a bad day, if you're burnt out, if you need something to just distract you. This is the kind of thing you need to watch. No narrative story, just hilarity for a good 90 minutes. Number 3, Hard Candy. For 3 weeks, 14-year-old Hayley Stark has been chatting online with a strange 32-year-old fashion photographer named Jeff. The two agreed to meet at a coffee shop called Nighthawks, where they hit it off despite the massive age difference. Hayley appears to flirt with Jeff, and Jeff generally restrains himself, even admitting that he must wait 4 years until he can be with her. But his reservations are apparently not enough to decline when Hayley all but invites herself over to his house. Hard Candy, directed by David Slade, is one of the best movies that I really never hear anybody talking about. It is of a touchy subject, but it twists and turns and becomes something far more engaging and shocking. And I want to tell you a lot about it, but I feel that I can't. I feel that this is a movie that you need to go into knowing as little as possible, because when things start to twist and turn, they become shocking. There is revelations that really do just take your breath away, and this becomes one of those movies that is just oh so wonderful to watch. Highly recommended, great performances, a nice little concise story between two people in a house, really well done. Number 2, The Wraith. Packard Walsh and his motorised gang control and terrorise an Arizona desert town where they force drivers to drag race so they can win their own vehicles back. After Walsh stabs the decent teenager Jamie Hankins to death for being intimate with a girl whom Walsh wants for himself, the mysterious Jake Casey arrives, an extremely cool motorbiker with an invincible car. Jake befriends Jamie's girlfriend Kyrie Johnson, takes Jamie's sweet brother Billy under his wing, and manages what Sheriff Loomis could not, the methodical and otherworldly elimination of Packard's criminal gang. The best way to describe The Wraith is absolute bonkers. The story doesn't really make sense. It feels odd that characters disappear for huge chunks of time. The special effects aren't great. Clint Howard's hair is just unbelievable of its own and one of the best special effects in the movie. But this thing works. I don't really know why. It is just a big stew of things that shouldn't come together, yet somehow at the end of it, the fantastic car chases, the explosions, the over-the-top bad guys getting their comeuppance is all things that just make this incredibly fun, which is why I'm recommending it this month. Number 1, Triangle. When Jess sets sail on a yacht with her group of friends, she cannot shake the feeling that there is something wrong. Her suspicions are realised when the yacht hits a storm and the group is forced to board a passing ocean liner to get to safety, a ship Jess is convinced she's been on before. The ship appears deserted, the clock on board has stopped, but they are not alone. Someone is intent on hunting them down one by one, and Jess unknowingly holds the key to end this terror. Triangle was a movie that I had seen posters for, cover art for, or just in my DVD shop look for years, and it just looked generic, the kind of thing that I bypassed until one time a friend said, "You really got to check this out," and I did, and I found a marvellously mind-bending, terrific movie. We follow the character of Jess through her story, which is given various revelations all the way through it, twists and turns, a great villain at the heart of it, a great story. Again, I want to tell you so much more about this, but this is another one where you have to go into it cold, don't know anything about it, and enjoy the hell out of this thing. It is a real trip, a real fantastic horror, a great mystery, a superb suspense and thriller movie. It has it all by the bucket load, and it's why it is my number 1 this month. If you don't check anything out in this list, Triangle is the movie you really, really have to check out. So there we have it. 10 fantastic movies for you to check out this month on Amazon Prime. I hope you find something there that sparks a little bit of curiosity in you, that you're willing to go and check it out. And if you do, I hope you're going to come back here and let me know in the comment box what you thought of it. Same as well, if there's something here, if there's something on Amazon Prime that I should have had on my list, let me know in the comment box, and maybe next month it might make it on there. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, thanks for hopefully liking this video, and I'll see you next time on Man vs Film.